Right, United fans, drop what you're doing, because this one's been 12 months in the making. Carlos Baleba, Old Trafford, it might actually be happening. This morning, David Ornstein, and let's be clear, when Ornstein moves, the football world stops and listens, dropped an exclusive on his X account. Manchester United closing in on a deal to sign Carlos Baleba from Brighton and Hove Albion. 22 years old, Cameroon international. Exactly the kind of engine room presence this midfield has been crying out for since Casemiro walked out the door. Now here's the number Ornstein's reporting, straight from The Athletic. United have tabled an offer worth around £60 million, plus $5 million in add-ons. In euros, that's roughly $70 million, $81 million. And crucially, Ornstein's own wording, that fee is, quote, felt to be below what Brighton would be seeking to sell. So this isn't a fee that's been agreed. This is United's opening position, and Brighton haven't said yes to it. But here's where it gets properly interesting. Red fam, force of habit. Less than an hour after Ornstein's exclusive dropped, Fabrizio Romano posted his own update, and he actually goes further on the numbers. Romano's graphic says the official bid is over 70 million euros, plus 6 million in add-ons, sent to Brighton, sourced directly to Ornstein. Slightly different framing to the 60 plus 5 in pounds. Could just be currency rounding, could be a revised package, we don't know yet. And we're not going to pretend we do. What Romano is explicit about, and this matters for how we frame this story, is that there is no club-to-club agreement yet. His words, United to send a new bid. So Manchester United's opening offer has already been knocked back in terms of valuation, and the expectation now is a second improved proposal is coming. Now, editorially, we need to talk about that graphic Romano used. It says, "Here we go soon." That is Romano's way of saying momentum is building, terms are close, but we are not there yet. So treat this as advanced, positive, genuinely encouraging talks, not a confirmed transfer. Anyone telling you Baleba is done and dusted this morning is getting ahead of the actual sourcing. So let's talk about why this one means so much if it actually gets over the line. Romano's graphic makes a point of reminding everyone, Baleba has been pushing for this move since August 2025. That's not new interest. That's a player who, 12 months ago, agreed personal terms with United, had genuinely fallen in love with the idea of playing at Old Trafford, and then watched the whole thing collapse because Brighton wanted £100 million for him, and United, under the previous regime, simply weren't going to pay that. That collapse hit Baleba hard by all accounts. His form dipped in the opening months of last season. You could see a player who thought he was gone, mentally somewhere else, then having to reset and refocus at Brighton. But the upside of that difficult spell is brutally simple. His price has come down, from 100 million to somewhere in the 60 to 70 region. That's the kind of drop that makes a genuinely elite defensive midfielder suddenly affordable for a club that's already spent big this summer. Let's actually talk about the player for a second, because the noise around fees and sourcing can drown out why this is exciting in the first place. Baleba is a genuine box-to-box, ball-carrying midfielder with the engine to cover ground most players simply can't. He breaks up play, and then instead of just recycling it sideways, he drives forward with it himself. That's rare. Most defensive midfielders are either destroyers or passers. Baleba does both. And at 22, he's still improving. Scouts who watched him at Brighton over the last 2 seasons have consistently flagged him as one of the most physically dominant young midfielders outside the traditional Big Six. From Brighton's side, this makes sense too, and it's worth being fair to them here rather than just painting them as the obstacle. Brighton have built an entire model on developing players to exactly this point and then cashing in at the right moment. That's how they funded Roberto De Zerbi's old squads and Fabian Hürzeler's current one. Baleba wanting away, and his form dipping when that first move collapsed last summer, actually strengthens Brighton's incentive to sell now rather than risk another season of an unsettled star player. A fee in the 65 to 70 million range, even if it's below their initial ask, is still a monster profit on a player they picked up for a fraction of that from Lille. And that spending is exactly why this move makes sense. United have already brought in Andre Santos from Chelsea and Yuri Tielemans from Aston Villa this window. A combined £85 million on midfielders who bring technique, guile, control. What they don't fully have yet is that imposing, ball-winning number 6. Someone who can anchor things in front of the back four the way Casemiro used to before his powers faded. And let's be honest, watching that decline happen in real time, week after week, is exactly why this position has felt like such an open wound for so long. Santos has some of that profile, but he's still developing. Baleba, at 22, already looks the finished article physically. There's also the Ederson context, and we have to mention it because it explains why this feels urgent for Michael Carrick's rebuild. United were close to landing Atalanta's Ederson as that third midfielder earlier in the window. That deal fell apart over medical concerns, and Ederson has since signed a new long-term contract in Bergamo, so that door is firmly shut. Baleba has essentially stepped into the gap that Ederson left behind, and by most accounts, he was always the higher ceiling option anyway. Now, continuity flag for anyone catching up on this saga, because it has moved fast, and it has moved in circles. Just under 2 weeks ago, Romano was reporting the complete opposite. Baleba had picked up an ankle ligament injury, and Romano said on his YouTube channel, and I'm paraphrasing here, that United were not proceeding with the deal because of it. That injury update killed the momentum stone dead for a spell. So if you saw headlines a fortnight ago saying this move was off, that was accurate at the time, but it is now out of date. Ornstein's reporting today notes, the injury issue is not considered serious and isn't expected to keep him out long term, which appears to be exactly what's revived United's interest. So where does this actually leave us? Ornstein's sourcing. And remember, on this channel, Ornstein sits right alongside Romano as our top-tier benchmark. Says amicable talks continue as all parties work to reach agreement. Romano's follow-up confirms United's opening bid is below Brighton's valuation. There's no club-to-club agreement, and a new United offer is expected. Put those two together and what you get is real, advanced, credible negotiations with genuine goodwill on both sides, but a gap on price that still needs closing. And you can already feel the temperature rising among the fan base on this one. Ornstein's post alone is sitting at tens of thousands of reposts and reactions within under an hour, which tells you everything about how starved United fans have been for a genuine defensive midfield upgrade. This isn't a squad filler rumor. This is the one supporters have wanted since the personal terms story first broke back in August of last year, and there's a real sense that if it collapses again, it'll sting a lot more the second time around, given how close it now appears to be. If United do get this over the line, and personal terms were never really the issue, given how much Baleba wanted this a year ago, you're looking at a midfield three of Santos, Tielemans, and Baleba, with Kobbie Mainoo still very much part of the picture too. That's a serious upgrade in physicality and legs compared to what Carrick inherited. This is the kind of signing that doesn't just fix a position. It fixes the identity of the team going forward. We'll keep tracking this one exactly the way we always do. Romano and Ornstein only, nothing from the rumor mill. And we will flag the moment either of them upgrades this from here we go soon to an actual full here we go. Until that graphic changes, treat this as very promising, very real, but not signed. One more thing worth flagging before we go, purely as a continuity marker for future videos. Reporting suggests that once Baleba is sorted, one way or the other, United's attention is expected to shift to left back, with Newcastle's Lewis Hall among the names under consideration. We're not going deep on that today because it's still very early and nowhere near the sourcing standard we hold for a full video. But keep an eye out, because if Baleba does get across the line, that could be the very next domino to fall in this midfield and defense rebuild. Drop your prediction in the comments. Is Baleba a United player by the end of the month? Like the video if you want that here we go moment as soon as it lands. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And as always, come on you Reds.